everyone, welcome back. Let's kick off the Christmas season with our annual Christmas gift tag tutorial. These are easy, fun, and the perfect way to add a personal touch to your gifts. Whether you're new here and have never painted along with me before, or you've been with me a while, thank you for being here. Now, go grab your watercolor supplies, pour yourself something warm and cozy, and let's paint our Christmas gift tags together. I'm using this little punch today to put a decorative edge on mine. So I'm making mine 4 1/8 in length and 2.5 inches wide. I love this little punch because it also puts the little hole in it for you, which is really helpful. And then I'm using this little corner punch to take the edge off and smooth out those corners. And all of this will be in the description below if you want links to that. So this is the first one that we're going to do. This is super easy. All you need to do is draw a circle on your tag. Now I'm using a stencil because it is going to mark for me the center lines, which is going to be very helpful for this one. So I'll just mark the horizontal and vertical lines here. And then I'll take a ruler and connect those. So divide your circle into 8 pie pieces. You'll only need to draw 4 lines like this. So I hope you can see that pretty well. We are going to use 2 greens and a gold. So I have mixed up, see, this one is sap green plus burnt sienna. And this one is olive green plus green gold plus sap green. And then I'm going to use on all of mine today this gold, and I cannot read that, of course, but I will put the link to all of these down below so that you can get these. This is my favorite gold. I really love this gold. I've gone through several golds over the years, and this by far is the best one, I think. Okay, I'm also going to use my number 4 silver black velvet brush. Okay, so for the first one, I'm going to use the green gold, olive, and sap mixture. I'm going to start at the top of each of these points and just make a little leaf just like that. So turn it however you need to. And just barely beyond that circle. And you could use a round brush for this if you wanted your little leaves to be more rounded. Be careful you don't put your hand in it here. But I decided I wanted mine pointed. Okay, so you should have something like that now. Sorry, I got that too high. And now reload your brush, kind of dab it off a little bit. And we want another leaf about right here that is going to connect about midway on that line. I probably did that one too large, but that's okay. And we're going to do the same thing. Go all the way around. And notice I'm always going to the right side of the line. And if your leaves aren't perfect, don't worry, this is very forgiving. All right, now we have that. Now reload your brush again, dab it off. This time we're going to the other side of the line. So we're going below that one. And you might have to kind of squeeze it in, and it might need to be a little thinner than the first one. And I'm sorry, this is traveling all the way around. One more. Okay, now clean your brush off and let's use the sap and sienna mixture. It's a little bit different green. Dab it off so it's not too much. We're going to go back up here and do a leaf right there. Again, on the left side of each line. Now we need to let that dry. While we're waiting, we can mix up our red that we're going to use for some little berries. I'm going to use a little quinacridone rose and burnt sienna for the berries. Okay, now that's dry, so let's take our number 4 brush again, and we're going to use the gold. And I always use like a little disposable cup that I can put water in to rinse my brush with the gold. I don't want to get that in the rest of my water because then it will transfer to the other colors. And now we're just going to pick some empty spots to add gold leaves. And I want to do it the same on either side. Just like we did before, I'm just working my way around. In the same spot on each line. And I got that one kind of fat, but that doesn't matter. All right, now where's our next spot? I'm seeing an empty spot right here. There's not much right there because this leaf was pretty big, but that's okay. I can overlap it and that will be just fine. Because that gold is going to stand out. It will cover up part of that green. No worries there. We're still going to be symmetrical. And let's put one on the other side just to balance it out. See, this is very forgiving. One more right there. All right, so I just want to get a little bit of this, and we're just going to paint in some berries here. So randomly disperse out some berries just to fill in some space and give it some color. And then we'll add a little gold cording and a gold bow to finish this off. Just like that. Now this is our next one that we are going to do. So we're still going to need to draw a circle, but we don't need to do it with a pencil. Certainly you can if you want to, but I'm just going to go ahead and start my little twigs with my paintbrush. It doesn't have to be neat. I'll just give myself a couple of little marks here because I'm going to go back and fill that in better later. Load your brush with whatever color you want your candle to be. Pick a spot about in the center and think, okay, so you have a candle and there's going to be a flame and we're going to have some greenery around it, so you don't want it too high. So something like that, about midway, I guess. place it down and just drag it down. And it's perfectly okay if it's sketchy. I really kind of like that sketchiness, so I'm not going to go back over it. But I do want this side of the candle to be a little taller, as if it's been burning for a while. So I'm just going to do something like that. Now, all we need to do is take a very small round brush. This is a size 0. And I'm just alternating between the two greens. I'm just making very short, kind of quick little brush strokes all the way around, just to make this greenery. And I'm not trying to be symmetrical. I want it very organic. So I'm just haphazardly marking around. And just kind of standing back, look, see where do I need to fill in a little more. And then I'm taking that same brush and just filling in with some Van Dyke Brown for the actual branch part of this greenery. And I'm actually going to use a micron pen to do the wick of the candle. Just a simple line. And we are going to have a gold flame. Let's get our gold out. Just like that. And once again, we are going to finish this one off with a gold bow. Okay, now let's do an ornament where it looks like glass. So I'm going to show you how to do that glare so that it's realistic. So once again, let's trace a circle. So I'm going to cover the whole thing with clean water, and I'm not really going all the way to my line. I will in a minute, but not with the clean water, because I want my edge to be as crisp as possible. So I'll want dry paper on the very edge. I am going to drop in Da Vinci's Nathal Red for my ornament. And that's a lot of pigment because I need it to move. All right, and as soon as I get, now like that, I'm going to pick it up. Oops, I think I'm going to pick it up and just move it a little bit. If it's not moving enough on its own, you can do that. Okay, I think that's probably pretty good. Now I'm going to wipe my brush a little bit and very carefully go all the way up to my line. My paper's a little bit bumpy, a little rough, so a perfectly smooth line is not really possible, but we can get pretty close. Now, if you're painting on hot press paper, it should be fairly easy to get a very smooth line, but I don't care for hot press myself. I turn this so that I can get this other side without blocking your view. And at this point, if you feel like you have too much water, you can always lift it. This is a lot of water over here, so I'm going to wipe my brush on a paper towel and then let it soak up some of that water. And just keep dabbing it and going back for more. To create a shadow at the bottom of our ornament, I am going to drop in a little bit of Perylene Violet. Any violet or purple will work with red. Purples and violets make great shadows on reds, or you could use a dark red. If you drop a little bit of this gold somewhere you do not want it, you can't wipe it up like a lot of times you can with watercolors. So that's what happened here. I got a little bit by accident on the edge of the card, so I'm just going to cover that up by drawing a gold rim around the whole card. And then I'm going to embellish the ornament with a little bit of gold vine work. And that finishes this one. Now the next one looks intimidating, but hear me out. It's not as difficult as it looks. So if you're a member of my newsletter, I sent you this sketch already. But if you're not a member, then you can sketch your own goose or look on Unsplash and find one that you can trace and then just follow along from here. Now to paint anything like a flower or an animal that's white on a white background, we really want to paint the shadows, not the white bird or flower. So I've mixed up a little gray using green gold, yellow ochre, and Payne's gray. And now there are many ways to get gray. This is just the combination I felt would be appropriate for a bird because it's a little bit of a greenish tinge to it. Now you can use, really think about a gray as you're either going to go with greens and yellows and a little blue, or you could go ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. Now those two make a really good gray, but they're more of a charcoaly gray and lean towards more blue, of course. Now, or blue and brown, really. Now the mixture I'm using is, like I said, green gold, yellow ochre, and Payne's gray. Now you can use any green, you can use yellow ochre, you can use raw sienna or burnt sienna. You can just play with those tones until you get the gray that you like. So anyway, all we're really going to do is outline our bird using our gray. And you want it very light, so lots of water. And you just keep working with it. If you need to use a paper towel to dab up, if you've put down too much, you can do that. So all you're seeing here is me playing with that gray along the outline of the bird until I get it the way I want it. And of course you'll want to use it a little stronger in strength in shadow areas and lighter on places where a little light may be shining more. So you just kind of keep working with it till you get it the way you want it. Just a little shadowy, and under his neck we want it darker. A little more shadow there. And I'm skipping this portion because we're going to do a wreath around his neck. That looks pretty good. And I don't really want any hard lines. So if you see a hard line forming, you can just wipe it up. And now let's do a little down here. Then we're just going to fill in the beak. That's pretty simple. just like coloring. I don't want to get it too thick. There we go. And we'll come back and do some detail work in a minute after this dries. Get a little clean water there. Smooth it out. And now for all the greenery, I'm going to use a filbert brush, a fairly small filbert brush, and just make little leaves using the side of the brush. And I'm allowing it to go over the edge of the tag just to give it a nice full look. Just work your way around the top, and then we will work our way around his neck. And I'm using the two greens that we were using before and just kind of alternating between those two until I get it full enough. I want to leave a little room for berries. I added a little thin line for his little beak separation and the little mark right there. And now we're finished with this guy. Okay, last one. We are going to do a super loose Christmas tree. These are so fun to do. First thing we need to do is lay down some clean water in the general shape of a Christmas tree. And now I'm going to grab that sap green and just drop it in where I put those marks. Now we are going to use multiple colors, which is what's going to make this tree really come alive. And I'm just scribbling. Leave plenty of white space. That's really going to come in handy in a minute. So just scribble. Just scribble, 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 scribble. And I think I'm going to take it all the way down. Scribble, scribble. I need a little more water. Oops, that was too much. That's okay. Don't worry about it. You can always take a paper towel and pick it up. Okay, that's the first little step. Now I'm going to take, let's see, how about we use Payne's Gray. Let's get a little Payne's Gray here. And I'm going to just drop Payne's Gray in. Not everywhere. See, that's pretty intense, but that's okay. We want it to mix on its own. Might take that other green, the darker green that we were using, and drop it in. And if you don't like where it's headed, take a paper towel. Dab it up. This is looking pretty dark to me, and we really want some lights in here too. So to get those lights back, we can just dab up what we've done. And now let's go again. Let's take some green, sap green. I really want it to be sketchy out here where the branches would be poking out. So make sure you allow that to happen. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So have a tendency to overwork things, so I'm going to force myself to stop here. And once it dries a little bit, we can always tweak it a little more. While that's drying, let's take our gold and put a little gold star on top of our Christmas tree. That might be a little small. Let's make that a little bit larger. All right, that's looking a little better. And there's really not a lot more that I'm going to do to this. I do want some more darks, so let me just clean my brush, and I'm going to grab this darker green, and let's just put a few more little details in here, some little shadows at the bottoms of some of these branches. And again, I'm just scribbling, just a few little scribbles. Not too much. Okay, that's looking pretty good. And because this is dry, these are going to be more of a hard line. Now, if you want it to soften that up, you can just add a little water to it to soften it up, but I think I'm going to leave it just like this. And now I want to do some splatters because that always looks very festive. So I'm going to put a lot more water in my brush. In fact, I'm just going to grab my mop brush because that holds so much water. And we'll just sprinkle a little bit. And I want to put some gold drops on here too. And that finishes the Christmas tree. Well, thanks for painting with me today. I hope you had fun with that one, and I hope you have some really great gift tags now to put on your gifts. Until next time, stay warm, and I hope to see you again soon.